Hello everybody, it is Friday, March 4th, 2022. We're going to start the video off today just reviewing what I said on Monday, which I've taken a screenshot of here. So basically, I said key levels to watch right here. Key levels to watch are going to be right here. 41K is key for the bulls to defend. Below 41K and my primary scenario of a new low below 33K becomes much greater. And for the bears, we needed to defend 45.8K. Above that, if the bulls could have taken that out, then the lower low would have been much less likely. So as I said up here, primary scenario is that what we were seeing was a second wave. And 41K being the key, to keep in the bullish motion, which obviously we broke today. So let's go through this one more time here, and then I need to clean some of this up, so I'll do that during the video here. All right, so first off, we have off of this high, which was corrective motion up from the 33K low. We had an ABC up. From there, we had a pretty clear 5-wave move down, like that. And so the expectation, because I didn't view this as quite being complete yet, and we had corrective action up, and then a 5-wave move down, the expectation was that we would get a 3-wave move up, and then a lower low. So let's go over this real quick while I'm cleaning up the chart. In here, we had this A and B right there, held the box that I had on there for that B wave support, and then it pushed up really high into the C wave, technically went slightly above it, the main region for this, but really didn't break it. So as we were coming down, because it got up a little bit too high, I was starting to give the bulls the benefit of the doubt, and I basically said, if this can hold as an A, B, C down, and we can hold this green box right here, then the bulls have a fighting chance to turn this into an alternate bullish scenario where we go up for one more high here, then come down, and then push up higher, right? However, with this move down, 41K being the key level, and that being broken, that is now eradicated as a possibility. So I'm going to go ahead and eliminate that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to eliminate that yellow fib. We're going to eliminate this blue fib. Okay. And just so I remember that that was a potential support there, I'm just going to make that sort of aqua colored now. I'll keep that on though. Okay. And we can eliminate that red alternative as well. So I'm back into my primary scenario now. I mean, I never really left it, but I'm more heavily in my primary scenario even than I was before. And so the question now is, where are we in the micro count? And I really do not know, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know exactly where we are within it. Okay, what I do know for sure, or not for sure, but what I do know to be the strongest possibility is that we're currently in the first wave down of the next larger wave, right? Whether that extends a little bit, I don't know. And that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out with the micro in here. But at some point, this is going to bounce. And it could bounce fairly significantly back up into low 40Ks. It could even come up a little higher, maybe retest this region here. That is possible for a second wave before we do finally get the really big dump down. It is also possible, of course, that this just continues dumping. I mean, we could see a capitulation wick. It could take a much more direct route there. But I think it is reasonable to assume that we should see a bounce of some sort before that large candle comes. So what I'm trying to figure out here in this micro blue count, I think this is pretty clearly 1 and 2. I don't think there's much argument about that. The question then was, okay, as this was coming down, was that 3 there? And then we have like just a little 4, and now this is 5? Or has all of this become part of 3 and we still have a 4 and a 5 to come? I don't really know yet which one is the case. So let's go over both of those scenarios, I suppose. If this is 3 and that's 2, and P.S., this really doesn't matter for the long term in any way. This is just kind of trying to figure out where the heck we are now. All right, so if we've already bottomed in the third wave, then we would view this as immediate resistance. If we don't dump lower overnight and we just start coming up here, then this is our resistance box right here between 39.7 and 40.5. Okay, somewhere in there is pretty much resistance for wave 4, assuming this is an extended third. And then wave 5 is going to come down likely into this area down here, and this would be a support box for 5 right about here between 36.6 and 37.3. So if that is the case, and now let me remove that fib just because it's kind of cluttering up my chart. Honestly, I can remove this fib too. I don't need that anymore. Okay, there we go. I like clean charts. Good. So yeah, so if we can see a little, high here and then lower, then this is my primary scenario. That's the first wave. And it is sort of important to keep an eye on what that, is that first wave, so that we can expect where second wave is and kind of go from there. It'll give us a better projection of where to expect the next moves to go as well. But it is also possible the alternate scenario would be basically this, where we have 1, 2, like a really small 3, 4, and 5. That I'm going to say is alternate right now, but it is possible. So basically what I'm going to say here is that if we see this broken and we start pushing up a little bit higher, then that becomes the primary micro count instead. So that's kind of my just micro viewpoint right now. And I would expect if that is correct, I would then expect a move potentially just to the 382, but more likely it goes a little bit higher. But I don't know, anywhere in here. I mean, typically it's 382 to 618, but this last move up, went really high, so it could certainly push up a little higher. So unfortunately, I've got to do a really large box here, but let's just say that range. If this little range is broken and it starts pushing up, that doesn't mean we're bullish. That means we're in a larger second wave. So we've got 1, 2, and then 3 is going to go down, most likely. Okay, so that is the secondary possibility right there. Okay, and like I said, that just doesn't really change too much in the long term, but okay, and there's a lot to look at, so I apologize for this being a bit longer today, but so then, now that we are fairly certain this is first wave down, second wave up, next move we should be getting is third wave, and within that is the micro that I'm talking about. So are we going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or is this already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? We don't know yet. So we're kind of waiting to see. So let's draw a fib extension though from 1 up to 2. And I'll show you the projections for this. To be quite honest with you, now that I'm looking at this larger fib extension, the 618 is a beautiful place for micro first wave to target. So perhaps we just get a little bit further down overnight to about 38K, hit that 618, and then we're going to come up, and 382 is typically what you target for that. So up to 40.7, and then we start going down. That would make a lot of sense tied in with this larger viewpoint. So let's keep an eye on that as a very strong possibility. Maybe a little bit move down, then up to 40.7, and then further down. So I'm going to draw now a larger degree, and this is all still finishing out all of these things that we need to finish. The y of c, the 5 of y of c of 4. So larger degree then is 1, 2, 3 is likely to come down here to about 28.5 based on this. 4 then bounces to about 34, and 5 comes down right to about 25.5. That would be the typical targets that we're looking at for this move. And let's make this, I don't know what color. Purple's too hard to see on here. I don't know. I'll just make it blue. That's fine. And we're going to make this larger. Yeah, primary. I like that. Okay. So here you can see there that yellow 5 of 1 right there. Up here is ABC of 2 right there. And now we're going to be working on this third wave down. So it would make a lot of sense right here to come here, here, third wave of 3 down to 31.8, then a little bounce up, and final dump down to about 28.5. So that's my primary expectation, something along these lines right there. And I don't remember what this was. Oh, that was the 5th wave target right there, so that's perfect. I'm just going to drag that back. This, I don't remember what that was. I'm going to get rid of that. I don't think that's valid any longer, though. Okay, so there we go. That's the path I'm looking at, assuming this continues playing out as expected. And that gives us a decent target bottom idea right about 25. Could be, you know, we could truncate somewhere in this 27, 28 region. We could see truncation there. I'll probably start picking up some spot buys as we get towards the bottom of this third wave, just in case it truncates completely and actually doesn't give us the 4th and 5th wave, or we get like a small 5th wave, something like that. I'll start picking up buys here. So important to keep in mind as we see the next bounce form. This is, we're working on the third wave. Okay, and the third wave is always the strongest one. So what that means is because this is now first wave down within third wave, we're going to get second wave up at some point, and then we're going to go into the third of the third, and that is going to be very strong. Okay, so the third wave, this leg right here of the third, is going to be very strong, and it targets 31.8. But if we're going to see extension anywhere, that's probably the one that we're going to see extension on. So it could come down further. It could come down and, you know, break 30K. That is certainly a possibility. So what I am saying is, if you're in any longs, I would use this next bounce. If we see some sort of bounce here, I would use it as an opportunity to hedge short, to close out the longs, take profit on them, whatever you need to do to protect yourself, because the next move down is likely to be very, very strong, being the third of the third. Okay. We do have an alternate bullish scenario. It's not very bullish, but it's sort of, you know, the bulls have a very slight chance of making it happen. Basically, it involves this being like a 1 and 2 and a diagonal, and now this is making like an A and a B, and maybe we get a C wave up and a third wave. I don't really like it because, perfectly honest with you, this does not, it would have to bottom like now, and even if it does, it projects up at best to like 54.4. Does that even work with the major fib? Let me see. That would put us at, let me just make this different color so I can see it. Yeah, it would push us up to about the 1382. I guess that is a possibility. So, you know, it's something I can't completely take off the table yet. Diagonals are very unreliable though, and I find that to be very unlikely, especially given that we saw this fifth wave down, or these 5 waves down here, clearly corrective action here. The expectation is certainly lower as the primary, but if we do start moving up, if the bulls can somehow get their crap together and push this higher, we do have a possibility of heading up into this 50 to 54 region for a third wave. And what would then happen is we would then pull back in an overlapping fourth wave down to the 40s again, and then we'd have a fifth and final wave up. And to be brutally honest, that might just be the end of the market completely, because it's such a crap pattern. There's a possibility then that we get a second wave from that and then a third up, but I don't know. That I'm really hoping that's not how it wants to play this, because that's not gonna be pretty if it does that. So primary scenario, we're just gonna have fingers crossed that that plays out, because it's gonna be a lot better for the bulls in the long run, assuming we can hold in that 25 region, and then start pushing upwards again. All right. I think that is all I have to say. So once again, apologize for the length of this video, but there was plenty to talk about. So over the weekend, we'll see how the micro plays out and go from there. That, like I said, once this first wave kind of confirms bottom either here or lower, then we can see where that second wave tops, and then we'll have a better idea of where we're specifically going to target within this pattern. But as of right now, down to 25.5 looks extremely reasonable. And if it extends, it could even push down further, of course. That is always a possibility. All right, guys, that's it. Stay safe in longs. Be careful with them. Make sure you're hedged or have stops, appropriate stops. Use risk management, blah, blah, blah. All right. Good night, everybody, and I will talk to you on Monday.